What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, The Real Ish. Alright, so today's video, if you see by the title, it says that we're going to be talking about Final Girls. Alright, so we're going to jump right into it. We're not even going to waste any time. Let's get into this video. Let's go. Alright, so I think a lot of us are familiar with what Final Girls are or what it is, but if you don't know, we're gonna discuss what it is real quick. All right, it says in horror movies, especially slasher films, the final girl is the last female character alive who confronts the killer, often emerging victorious or at least surviving the ordeal. This trope, popularized by Carol J. Clover in her book Men, Women, and Chainsaws, often involves the final girl exhibiting intelligence, resilience, and resourcefulness, sometimes even taking on masculine roles to survive. Alright, so that is basically what a final girl is. Alright, so I found a website. I go to this website often when I do these videos. It says 10 best horror movie final girls of all time. Alright, so it says women are frequently at the center of the horror genre, often being the most iconic victims and survivors of slasher killers. The term final girl referring to the sole female survivor of slasher films. So we already talked about that, alright? So coming in at number 10 from Happy Death Day, it says Tree Gilman. I've seen Happy Death Day. I think it's pretty good movie. Alright, so starring in the Happy Death Day, it says Tree Gilman is one of the modern horror's best final girls. Initially characterized as a shallow and emotionally closed-off sorority girl, Tree's ordinary life is forever altered one birthday when she finds herself trapped in a Groundhog Day-style time loop that resets every time she is murdered by a masked assailant. Throughout the film, Tree greatly develops as a person, simultaneously softening her sharper edge and gaining a sense of toughness and self-preservation in order to save her own life. So I did see Happy Death Day. I don't remember her name being Tree, but maybe it's been a minute. And it says she continues her journey in the film sequel Happy Death Day to You. In that one, she's forced to confront her past and the death of her mother as she enters an alternate timeline with a different killer. So number 10 is Tree from Happy Death Day. Jumping in at number 9 from Friday the 13th, Part 2, Jenny Field. Jenny Field is a protagonist and final girl of Friday the 13th, Part 2, one of the senior counselors at the camp. Jenny is flighty and playful, but also capable and good at her job. While her fellow counselors believe Jason is simply an urban legend, Jenny shows empathy for his tragic backstory and believes in his existence far before he shows himself to her, demonstrating her kindness and intelligence. Alright, so it says Jenny particularly shines in the film's final act, where she proves herself to be a formidable opponent to Jason. It says she fights back against him by threatening him with a chainsaw and hitting him with a chair, as well as running relentlessly across the campsite in order to escape him. She finally gets away when she outsmarts Jason by posing as his mother. I remember that. She poses as his mother, wearing her old blood-stained clothes, using her psychological advances to gain the upper hand against Jason's superior physical strength. Jenny is a smart and resilient final girl who stands out as the best in her franchise. So, moving on, Black Christmas. One of the Jess Bradford Black Christmas 1974, because I believe it is a newer Black Christmas that they redid. One of the films that defined the slasher genre as we know it, Black Christmas, is a 1974 Canadian slasher film featuring an ensemble cast of sorority sisters. The film's protagonist is Jess Bradford. She's an empathetic and headstrong young woman. When Jess's sorority house is targeted by a mysterious killer, Jess is forced to endure listening to his obscene phone calls and eventually take him on combat. Despite her resolve, however, Jess ends the film in Pearl after killing the wrong suspect in self-defense, leaving her at the murderer's mercy, the real murderer's mercy. Subversive and memorable aspect of Jess's character beyond even that she is a strong, capable heroine is her shockingly feminist storyline. Jess is pregnant, a far cry from the virginal final girl stereotype, and seeks to have an abortion in order to continue pursuing her ambitions. In the face of backlash from her controlling boyfriend, Peter, Jess remains firm in her own decisions, cementing her commitment to her own bodily anatomy. Black Christmas is a slasher masterpiece, and Jess's character is a unique and essential feminist final girl. Alright, Maxine Minx from X 2002, and then Maxine 2024. I believe I saw the previews for this movie, but I haven't, I don't think I've seen this. No, I haven't. I don't really watch newer movies like that. And if I do, I usually don't like them. I'm not gonna read all of this with her. It says Maxine is the lead character and final girl of T.I. West's 2022 slasher X. Raised in a religious household by her preacher father, Maxine dreams of becoming a movie star and attempts to jumpstart her career by working in. Upon arrival at their filming location, Maxine and her fellow cast members find themselves targets of a murderous elderly woman, Pearl, who once bore a striking resemblance to Maxine and becomes fixated on her as a result. Alright, so that's basically all that one says. I haven't seen it, so I can't say if I agree or disagree with her being a good final girl or not. This one I'm kind of, I don't agree with. Sam Carpenter is the main character and final girl of Scream from 2022 and Scream 6. She's the daughter of Billy Loomis. Oh my gosh. I remember seeing this movie and I hated that storyline so much. Oh my gosh. The daughter of Billy Loomis. I hate that. Anyway, that's a story for another time. I can't stand that. Anyway, she's the daughter of Billy Loomis and the granddaughter of Nancy Loomis. Both former Ghostface killers, and struggles with the dark legacy that her family has created. Oh my gosh. In Scream, Sam returns to Woodsboro to protect her younger sister, Tara Jenna Ortega. I can't stand that girl. From harm after she's attacked by Ghostface. Sam then finds herself at the center of the crimes, being framed for the murders. Forced to make peace with her father's crimes, Sam taps into her brutal inner strength to stab one of the killers to death. This strength also carries her through Scream 6, where she confronts her trauma and grapples with her overprotective way she cares for her sister, portrayed with a compelling combination of fragility and strength by rising Scream Queen Melissa Barrera. Sam is a unique twist on the classic final girl archetype due to the dark family history that haunts her. Constantly struggling with her potential to be a hero or villain, but always letting her moral compass guide her. Sam was an instantly iconic successor to Sidney Prescott. Alright, well, slow down there. Don't even put her and Sidney Prescott in the same sentence. Alright, anyway. Sally Hardesty, The Texas Chainsaw from 1974. Few horror movie final girls. She's number 5. Few horror movie final girls have endured the level of psychological torment inflicted upon Sally in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Sally is an adventurous young woman who, along with her friends and brother, travels to her old family home to check on her grandfather's grave in the week of a series of grave robberies implied to have been committed by a cannibalistic Sawyer family. After her friends and brother are brutally murdered by Leatherface, Sally is kidnapped by the Sawyers and forced to endure the film's most iconic element, a horrific dinner party with the killers. Managing to escape from their grasp, and with the help of the truck driver abandoning Leatherface on the side of the road, Sally ends her ordeal drenched in blood, laughing like a maniac. While Sally is afforded far less agency than contemporary final girls, she is nevertheless extremely memorable due to a large part of the Marilyn Burns' phenomenally committed performance, performing her own stunts and even allowing herself to be actually cut on camera. What? Burns is a horror legend with one of the best and most screams in genre history, cementing Sally as one of the greatest final girls ever. All right, number 4, Nancy Thompson. A Nightmare on Elm Street, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, and Dream Warriors. All right, it says Nancy Thompson is protagonist and final girl in 1984's classic slasher film Nightmare on Elm Street. Nancy is established as a kind and loyal teenage girl from a troubled home who is plagued by nightmares, featuring Freddy Krueger, the villain Freddy Krueger. As Freddy begins killing her friends through his dream powers, Nancy uses her creativity and intelligence to bring him into the waking world and sabotage his own path with booby traps. Reappearing in the sequel film A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warrior, Nancy works as a psychology student in a psychiatric institute and helps a group of teenagers who find themselves once again targeted by Freddy. Nancy uses her experience with dream manipulation to train the teens to get the better of Freddy. And although she is tragically killed while fighting him, she additionally manages to gravely wound him. Nancy is courageous, fiercely intelligent, and all above a genuinely good person, making her one of the most likable final girls in film. All right, number 3, Ellen Ripley, Alien 1979. I'm not familiar with this one. I haven't seen it. It says there's a good reason that Ripley became one of film's most recognizable action heroes, beginning the film as a sensible and by-the-books officer who is forced out of her comfort zone but never loses her head in the face of disaster. Ripley is notable for her defying gender roles at a more traditional time in horror cinema, being a highly capable individual who never needs saving. Not only one of horror's greatest final girls, but also generally one of cinema's most beloved characters. Alright, so we done made it all the way down to the last 2. So, I have a very iffy opinion about this one person. Is because I really can't stand these movies. Laurie Strode, of course, coming in at number 2. She's the final girl in the whole Halloween franchise. My goodness. If you haven't heard me talk about Halloween on this channel before, I just have a very, and not even a love-hate relationship with it. It's just a hate relationship. Anyway, let's get into this. The central character of Halloween franchise, obviously. She's equally important as Michael Myers himself. Laurie Strode is one of the horror's first legendary final girls, and the first Halloween, Laurie Strode is characterized as an intelligent, kind, and shy teenage girl whose youthful innocence is destroyed as a mass killer, Michael Myers, begins killing her friends in pursuit of her. Forced to self-actualize by fighting back until Dr. Loomis shoots Michael and saves her life, Laurie proves her strength in the face of evil, but is left traumatized. Laurie's story is continued in the recent sequel series, where she is portrayed as having been hardened by her experiences struggling with PTSD and alcoholism. However, throughout the trilogy, Laurie confronts her demons by talking to Michael and finding comfort and love in her relationship with family and friends, giving her a satisfying and earned character arc. Laurie is one of the horror's most famous final girls for a good reason, shining due to her simultaneous vulnerability and strength, what makes audiences care for her and root for her victory. I disagree, because it's been so many instances where she should have been killed, and I don't care how strong they try to say she is. The reason why Michael's chasing her in the first place doesn't make sense, and a lot of those Halloween movies don't even count. That's a whole nother video for another time that I'm gonna do on Halloween itself, because I really don't find Laurie Strode to be one of the greatest final girls. She stuck around all this time for what exactly? Like, I don't understand. Someone's chasing her for all these years. Like, it's kind of like old, it's getting old now. Like, it's who cares at this point? I'm like, if he get her or not, like, who cares? All right, so I have no problem with this one. Coming in at number 1, obviously, which I feel like is a better final girl, is Sidney Prescott, played by Neve Campbell. She's the final girl in this whole Scream franchise. Sidney Prescott is the central protagonist of the Scream franchise, first appearing in Scream from 1996. It's the first film Sidney is established as a smart and somewhat reserved teenage girl grieving the loss of her mother, While her friends begin being murdered one by one, Sydney is horrified to discover that her boyfriend Billy Loomis is the mastermind and main culprit behind the killings. Rather than falling victim to the scheme, Sydney manages to kill both Ghostface killers and emerges as a victorious final girl. Sydney proceeds to star majority of the Scream movies as she and people around her are repeatedly targeted by different killers, all wearing the Ghostface mask. However, in the face of tragedy, Sydney retains an empathetic and strong woman who offers help to those in need by working as a crisis counselor and writing an inspirational memoir about her life, as well as interviewing to protect targets of subsequent Ghostface attacks. In each Scream film, Sydney shows herself to be intelligent, incredibly tough, and inspiring, consistently demonstrating why she is one of the horror's all-time greatest final girls. Oh, these are some comments. Some people don't agree with her being over Laurie Strode. Some people say, where is someone from your next? I'm not sure. And when I was doing research for this, they showed me several different lists about, final girls, and some are the same and some are a little different, but I didn't want this to be drawn out, so I just chose this one that has 10. Some lists had like 25 and 13. It would have went on and on forever. So I think this is a pretty good list right here. Let me know what you guys think about this. Do you agree with this list? Do you disagree? Do you think Laurie Strode should be first? Do you think that Sidney Prescott should be first? Do you think that they should be on this list at all? I'm good with number one. I'm good. And so let me know what you guys think about this video. I thought it'd be a little different to talk about the final girls. I haven't talked about them on the channel yet. Thank you for watching. If you're new, please subscribe to the channel and check out my other videos. Like this video, comment down below your thoughts on what you think about this video, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. God bless.